Hello everybody. I should work on my intros. But anyway, hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Welcome back to my channel. This is not your first time watching. But anyway, today's video is going to be a video focusing on the Comfort Zone palette from Wet n Wild. Recently, Wet n Wild revamped their original Comfort Zone palette, which looked like this, and they updated it. They updated the colors, the overall look, the formula, and they changed it to this palette right here. Now when this came out, I personally was a little bit worried. I was a little bit skeptical. I was like wondering, is this new palette going to be better than this one right here? You know, is it going to be better? And in this video, you'll find out. I got this idea from a lot of other YouTubers that were doing this same type of video, basically comparing the new and the old Comfort Zone palette. This is not my original video idea. I did get this from someone else, but I made sure to not watch any of those videos. I wanted to make sure that the opinion I presented to you was my own and not influenced by anyone else's. So in this entire video, I'll be going through swatches. I'll be going through each palette individually, and I'll also be sharing how to create this look right here. If you want to check out my timestamps, they will be down below in the description box. So if you want to skip ahead to like a certain part of the video, you can do so. I guess I'll just get started with this video. So let's just get into it. So first off, when you look at these palettes, this one has 8 colors in it, and then this other one, the updated version, has 10 colors in it. They are quite different in that way, but if you look at the palettes themselves, you can sort of pick out the colors that were supposed to be similar to each other, such as this color. I feel like it's supposed to be an older version of this color right here, and then this color is supposed to be the newer version of this color. So you do get some parallels between these palettes, but another big difference is that you do have the addition of 2 matte shades in the palette. I, for one, really appreciate how they decided to make sure that the pan size for the matte colors were larger than the shimmery colors. I just find I use matte shades, especially transition shades like these, a lot more often and more repetitively than shimmery and metallic type of colors, so I do appreciate the thought behind that. And by the way, I do keep saying Comfort Zone palette when talking about this palette, but they have marketed this as their color icon palette in the shade Comfort Zone. But I just keep saying Comfort Zone because that's just what I'm used to talking about. The cost appears to be the same as well. The original palette was $4.99. I believe that the new palette is the same price as well. On the back, you get a guide explaining how to use the colors in this palette. It's sort of like a paint by number situation. They did the same in the old palette, and they're doing the same in the new palette, except in the new palette they do have a day look and a night look. So I want to get into the swatches really quick. First off, I want to swatch the 2 transition shades. You get 2 of them, which I really do appreciate. I like having a variety of matte shades. Plus, I feel like the variety makes it more accessible to the general population. So these are the 2 matte colors. They are smooth, they are blendable, they are buildable. I ended up using both of these colors in my eye look today. I want to try and show you the older version of a color and compare it with the newer version of the color, just because the colors in these palettes tend to be very similar, and I just feel like the new shades in this palette are based off of the old shades in the old Comfort Zone palette. So I'm going to start off with this color right here. This is a highlight color. I'm going to swatch the new version with my pointer finger, and then I'm going to give you a swatch of the older version using my middle finger. So the top shade is the newer version of this color, and then the bottom is the older version. The swatches sort of blend into my skin, so I'm not sure if you can see very clearly what these colors look like. And they seem to look quite similar when you just look at them. But when I was first swatching this palette, I did go outside and I was trying to compare how they looked in the sunlight, and I noticed that the newer version of this color was a little bit more pinky toned than the old version. Not overly so, but I just felt like the newer version has like a sort of like a pink undertone to it versus the older version had a yellow undertone. And also I want to mention, in general, a lot of the shades have a far more smooth texture than the originals. I have noticed less fallout. I have noticed less of the crumbly texture, which didn't really bother me that much initially when I was using the older palette, just because I tend to always do my eyeshadow before my face makeup anyway, so fall isn't really a big issue for me. But that's just what I've observed. I just figured I might as well mention it. Moving on, I want to talk about this color right here. I have been able to dip into it quite a lot. It was actually my favorite shade in the original palette when it came to a highlight. I used this as an inner corner highlight all the time, and I was really into it. So the top is the new and then the bottom is the old. I, for one, have noticed an improvement in this color as well. The newer one seems to be more metallic than the older one. The older one was a little bit more gray, and the newer one seems to be like a touch lighter, which I find to be very useful for my inner corner highlight. Plus, I feel like the newer version is a touch warmer, not warm enough to be considered a warm tone by any means or even a neutral, but it is more of a warm version of a gray, if that makes any sense. That is the only way I can sort of explain that. Moving on, I have this pink color right here. The top one is new, the bottom one is old, and in the original palette, and when I was using this palette, I always used to love using that shade as an all over lid color just because of how beautiful and shimmery it is. The newer version is significantly more pigmented, which I do appreciate. I do like how they're able to amp up the pigmentation on that shade. But moving on, I have this color right here. The sister or the cousin of this color is this shade in the old version of the Comfort Zone palette. Again, the top is the newer one and then the bottom is the old version. There is an increase in pigmentation, not as significant as with the pink color from the previous shade, but there is a increase in the level of pigmentation anyway. I do like the increase, plus what I also like is that they made the new shade have a little bit more of a red earthy undertone, but not too much. I just like the added depth to it. Plus I feel like the newer shade in general has a little bit more of a red, and the new version does have a more red undertone, which I personally do like, and I'm not sure if it's because of the fact that it is more pigmented or just that they changed the color a little bit in general, but the new version does seem to be a shade or two darker than the older version. Alright, so next I have this green color right here, and this was one of the colors I was very interested in finding out if it was an actual improvement, because if you've seen my videos when I was talking about the Comfort Zone palette, the original, the old one, I said that I liked pretty much every color in this palette except for this color right here. It really just wasn't pigmented enough for me. It wasn't smooth. I couldn't wear it. It was just such an odd shade. I feel like if you're going to release a green color, it should be a green that is pigmented, because otherwise it just makes you look sick, which is why I didn't really end up using this color at all. So when I was looking at this new palette and I saw this color, I was very interested in finding out if this was actually an improvement, and let me show you. So again, the top is new, the bottom is old, and there was an improvement, and I am forever grateful, because now I can actually use this color on my eyes without looking like I need to vomit everywhere, because it has improved. The pigmentation is amped up so much, and the actual color, I believe that they darkened it just a touch, and I feel like they made it a little bit more wearable, because even though it is a green, you can still wear this green and not worry about having this like awkward light green shade on your eyes that makes you look ill, you know? This color is darkened just a slight bit and pigmented, and I like it. I think it's a good color. Is it my favorite of this palette, by the way? No, but compared to the old color, it is so much better. Okay, moving on, I want to talk about this color right here. This was one of my favorite colors from the old palette. I loved this color so much. When I was first getting into makeup, I used to swatch this color on my skin just because it used to look so pretty. Like, I didn't even put it on my eyes when I was younger, I just swatched it because it was that beautiful, and of course it looks amazing on the eyes. This was a color that I was like, please don't screw this up for me, because I love this color by itself. Again, top new, bottom old, and I feel like they really couldn't have done much to improve it, and quite honestly, so let me tell you the thing about this color. In the old palette, I found that I was able to apply with my fingers and it will be just fine. In the new palette, you will see in the tutorial, I showed you guys how I tried applying it with my finger and it just looked really bad. It didn't really look like it was pigmented at all with my finger, but with a brush, it looked like a million times better. With the old version, I was able to use it with a brush and with my fingers and it would be just fine. I do wish that it was a little bit easier to use it with my fingers because that's the only con I can find about this color. Other than that, it looks really beautiful. They did add a little bit more of a blue pigment to it. What made the original color so popular and so interesting for a whole bunch of people was the fact that it had like this duochrome quality to it, and it was like this rusty red color, and then the reflect of it was like this beautiful like blue sort of pigment, which was obviously very beautiful. The newer version has really amped up that blue pigment, which means that if you just put it on your eyes like I did today, you can definitely see the blue in there significantly more than in the old version, if that makes any sense. I'm going to move on now to swatching this shade right here and its older version. I am very bad with swatches. I just want to mention that straight off the bat. I'm not good with these swatches. I'm sorry about that. But that is this color right here, and to be honest, I do like it better in the old palette. I do have a little bit of a difficult time blending it out, and it is not as pigmented as the old version was. So that is probably the only color in the palette that I'm not crazy about when it comes to the update, just because I kind of like the old one better, just because the old one was easier for me to blend out, whereas the new one, it's a little bit choppy. Alright, so I'm gonna swatch this color right here, and this is a color that I really love the improvement on. When I used to look at this older version in the palette originally, I was always like, it looks so beautiful in the pan, but I do have to build it up, I do have to work with it when it's on the lids, and it doesn't really come off as dark as it looks in the pan. But in the newer palette, they managed to just improve it so much. When you swatch it, it's like this beautiful, like deep green color, and it is absolutely stunning, so much better than the old version. So those are my brutally honest swatch comparisons between the two palettes. So now I'm going to show you how these colors perform, and I'm going to show you how to create this look right here. Just the eyeshadow part, of course. I'm going to focus on the entire face because that will take too long, but if you want to see how to use this palette and how to use it to create this look right here and to see these shadows in action, then keep watching. I have applied some foundation to my lids and set it with powder, which is something I do in pretty much every single makeup look on this channel. You will have already known this if you watch me, but that's just because I like the way it helps with the blendability and the overall performance of the eyeshadows. It's just something I do all the time. So the first color that I want to try and use in this palette is going to be this transition color right here, tapping off the excess, and this is going in my crease. Okay, now I want to go ahead and try this color right here, and I believe I want to use this as a sort of defining shade for my outer corners. I want to go ahead and try using this color right here with a smaller, more precise crease brush, and this will be placed into my outer corner. Kind of playing around. I want to see if I can just use it to further define my crease as well. I'm not sure how this will turn out. I'm going to dip back into this transition color right here and use it to blend out my crease just a little bit. Then for the center of my lid, I want to try and use this color right here. I'm going to use my fingers for this. And something I can definitely say is that compared to the old palette, this is making it a little bit difficult for me to apply this eyeshadow to my lid using just my finger. It's not looking as good as I would like it to. And then the old palette, this one, I used to use this shade with my finger all the time, and it used to work out just fine. So I don't think that this shade works particularly well with just my finger, so I'm going to try again using a flat brush. Okay, that's a lot better. Alrighty then, I like these. I'm going to go and put foundation on the rest of my face, and then we can go on to the lower lash line. I'm going to be using this brush from earlier. This is a Morphe E17, by the way. For my lower lash line, I want to try and use this color right here, this transition color. To deepen things up a bit, I'm going to be taking this color right here and just popping it into the outer part of my lower lash line. Just like right there, you see? I'm going to be using this color right here, which is like this beautiful silvery tone, which I really loved in the old palette actually. I'm going to do the rest of my face, and I'll be back with you soon to share the final look. Okay, so that is the end of this makeup tutorial. Overall, I'm very impressed with how they updated this palette. They have added pigmentation, they have added new colors, they have added the mattes, which I really appreciate. So if you're interested in purchasing this palette, I would highly recommend it. It's a really good palette. So thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for watching until the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new, or got something from this video, or just got an idea of whether or not you want to purchase this palette. And if you don't care about this palette, maybe you were inspired by this look that I have created for you. So again, thank you for your time, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.